Hi everyone, welcome to Media Hunt's 2020 Vision. We've had Matt Schneider from Urbis as a guest in the past. It's always great to talk to Matt. You've got so many great insights into what's going on in the city. Tell us about the Urbis research that we've just put out today.
Yeah, thanks Steve, and thanks for having me along again. Today's Urbis research really starts to try and wrap some facts and figures about the level of activity that we're seeing in Burleigh. In particular central Burleigh. So we had the opportunity to sit down and really look at all the construction activity for residential apartment projects, commercial, some of the F&B, and of course the big infrastructure spend from government. And when you sit down and put all of that on a piece of paper, you get to a very big number at about $5 billion.
So $5 billion,
Yep.
that's a lot of residential, a lot of commercial. Do you want to just break down some of those key big ticket projects?
Yeah, well, of course, the biggest contributor in all of that is the light rail stage 3 extension. So we'll soon see that kick off about February next year, we hope now, which will bring light rail from Broadbeach down to here in central Burleigh Heads, and that's a really big component of that. And then, of course, there's a couple of big projects around as well, and so each of those residential projects are contributing significantly.
So what's driving people to Burleigh? I mean, you've got something like 20% price growth just this year. Something like 48%, I think it is, for the last 5 years. What is the appeal of Burleigh?
Yeah, well, Burleigh's a real story of the market fundamentals, right? You've kind of got the lifestyle proposition. You've got a nice balance of the green and the blue and the city, you know, kind of Burleigh Heads National Park in here as well as this beautiful beach. The lifestyle proposition here is as good as it gets, not only nationally, but I'd say probably also on the Gold Coast. So, and that's kind of the natural amenity. Then you start rolling in now the strength of the James Street retail precinct, the quality of residential accommodation around the convenient access to the motorway and everything else, and then the kind of third wave of residential amenity, I suppose, in terms of public transport coming in, and the new services that we'll see come along with that. They're all market fundamentals. It doesn't matter where in the world you're looking, if you see those fundamentals in a location, people are interested.
I can't think of anywhere in Australia on a 2-kilometre stretch that is more active than Burleigh at the moment, with residential in particular.
Oh, I think you're right about that, Steve. And as you know, we work across Australia, and I can't think of a place which is more active either. It makes good sense.
So I think too the value proposition, that seems to be an underlying factor. You know, you can buy something in Sydney or Melbourne, but you're probably paying half the price here. So you can get in for $2.5 million into a really luxurious 3-bedroom apartment on the beachfront. That's pretty good value, isn't it, for the southern state?
That's right, and as you know, we see this kind of over cycles, and we're seeing it again. We're seeing a really compelling proposition for interstate migration. We were seeing that for about the last 4 to 6 months. It's now starting to wash through in some of the facts and figures out of the ABS, for example. So that interstate migration thing, particularly out of Victoria, is on, and it's real, and that value proposition, of course, drives that. I think the other thing which drives that, which we've learned out of COVID, it's one of the silver linings of that storm cloud, is that we do have more flexibility to work remotely, to work fluidly, and so that handbrake, which we've always just kind of had on us as a city in terms of access to jobs and employment and the depth of those opportunities, has been eased on the back end of COVID, and I think that's driving it as well.
Well, 2020 has been a very interesting year, Matt, and I think it's all looking pretty good for 2021 for all of the factors that you mentioned. So it's an exciting time to be on the Gold Coast, and really appreciate your insights. Wish you a Merry Christmas, and look forward to working with you next year.
Thanks, Steve. Keep up the good work.